Hey guys, welcome to the Wingin It podcast. Whether you're stuck at home or hard at work, this is the all-inclusive podcast covering anything from gaming to real-world drama. If you would like to catch up on previous episodes or get sneak peeks into future podcasts, find us on Facebook or YouTube. Just search for the Wingin It podcast. Sit back and enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome to the Wingin It podcast, episode number 3. Thank you to all you guys that have watched the first couple episodes. We've managed to gain some viewers. Today we have got a very interesting topic to talk about. I'll get in. I have a few guests today, so we'll get in and see what they have to say.
Of course, I'm
Alright
back,
guys,
guys.
so I'm
Go
back.
for it.
I'm here with do you guys want to introduce yourselves? Introduce yourselves?
Yes, I am the alcoholic of the group, Dave.
Oh, of course he is.
Classic.
Nice,
Hi.
nice.
He rates himself.
No,
Why
no,
wouldn't
that's
he?
why I'm alcoholic. Oh shit.
We got dunked on.
We did.
Okay, so we were just talking about a very interesting topic about sleep paralysis and dreaming as well. So I was just sharing my experience with the guys about like a shadow man, I guess you could say, that I've seen a few times yeah in my life, I guess. We were talking about sleep paralysis as well. So Dog, you were talking about you used to have sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I had it every now and again, like mainly as a child, but up and recently, well, probably a month ago, I had one recent attack, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
It seems to be more common in young people though. I think I read a little bit about it, and I think it's because like younger people are more open to the idea that this is like real. It's not like you know like sleep paralysis when you see things that aren't there. Like younger people are more like they don't have a logical brain, so they think, oh, this is real. Like I can actually see these things
No,
happening.
yeah, I agree with that because I've seen videos, yeah, where I saw this one video, for instance. It was a mother who had two children, and they were eating at a table.
Yeah,
And the eldest one of the children, I'm talking like these guys were not much older than toddlers.
yeah,
And the eldest one of the two children looks back into the bathroom and just starts screaming her head off and runs to the mother. There's nothing there in the video. Like the mother goes and checks, there's nothing there. Then basically the other daughter is just laughing at the eldest one until she looks around and then she sees whatever it is and starts screaming. But there's nothing there.
does that
right.
make sense to anyone, or is that just me not listening?
I mean that makes sense. Like are they both young? Do you mean like?
Yeah, yeah, they're both young, and they've clearly seen like something that has terrified them, but like older person can't see it, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean
I think it was going with what Latch was saying, how younger people are more open to seeing stuff like that.
yeah.
I think especially when we're talking about sleep paralysis, it's also that younger people are more likely to identify it as sleep paralysis.
That's
Like,
so.
well, there's probably older people that don't necessarily know sleep paralysis is a thing. Especially among guys, there's probably people who just be like, oh, it must have just been a fucked up dream. I'll fucking move on from it. Or especially, I know, because my mum's heavily into Christianity and shit. She would have identified it as a demon, not a sleep paralysis.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
But
whole nother
because
story.
younger
Yeah.
people, there's the internet and all that, and we've all heard of sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
We know what it means. We're more likely to actually identify it as sleep paralysis.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. How older people, or not necessarily older people, but different people have different ideas of what's logic and what's reality. I
Yeah.
guess like that's where younger people when they see or when they experience this, it's they just think, oh, well, what's happening must be real because you know they haven't been exposed to anything else really. Like they haven't had someone say, this isn't real, it can't happen. It doesn't make sense scientifically, but because they are younger, then
I think that depends on your definition of real, though, because I think any medical professional would agree that sleep paralysis is a real phenomenon. Whatever the fuck that word is.
well, is it a
Phenomenon.
medical
Phenomenon.
is it a
Yeah,
medical
yeah.
thing? Do you think or
Yeah.
Well, see,
Look,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure the way the definition goes is like you rapidly wake up from your deep state of sleep,
Yeah.
so
You,
your mind's open, but your body's locked in, sort of thing.
Yeah.
the
So
chemical
that
that your
stops
brain releases to like make your motor function in your brain
it.
wake up doesn't
It
actually release.
so your brain works, but your brain tells your body not to
Yeah.
move because you're sleeping, so it prevents you from sleepwalking.
Oh, so it's
But
like
it's like
it's like an altered state of mind, or is it like a
yeah,
physical, like your brain's physically not firing neurons to tell you
Your
to move?
your your brain doesn't release the chemical that wakes up the motor function of your brain for your
no, I
body.
wouldn't say that doesn't sound right, but
I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure
I
that's
don't know
what it
anything
is.
about it. I
I
just
might be
knew that
wrong.
it's
Yeah,
scary.
I mean, but even that explains the paralysis. It doesn't really explain the hallucinations.
oh,
You could
listen,
say that because you're coming out of a dream state, that
Yeah.
would explain it.
Yeah.
Because your brain's not fully awake though, so that's why you would still be in a dream state like you're
Yeah.
saying. So that's why maybe you're seeing things that are not there.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the difference between, the scientific and medical community and just people in general. Maybe people who have experienced it is that I don't think many people in the science community would say it's real in that there really was someone there with you, but they would definitely say that it's a real phenomenon.
Predominant.
It's a real thing that
phenomena.
happens to people because you can't really deny it. It's happened to that many different people.
But then again, some people believe that sleep paralysis is like a dream, like it's not actually
Yeah.
real, you know?
And then obviously the people, the demons again.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's, what do you believe? It's
Well, yeah. Personally, I'd say more in the dream sense. Again, it doesn't mean it's not real in that you didn't experience it,
Yeah.
because people definitely experience it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
for
was
sure.
there actually a being there with you? I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say I agree with that.
No.
Like
I
I
think
can
it's
run you.
just because you're not out of your dream state, so you're still technically dreaming a figure there.
But it's,
It'd probably be in people who have a more lenient, a more like a stronger creative side of the brain. I reckon that's what
Mm,
might
I
necessarily create these
think
dreamlike figures.
yeah, okay. Well, do you think that maybe people that believe in the supernatural and, the spiritual world, do you think that they're more like susceptible to,
connected.
or yeah, even more connected to these experiences? Like that they feel like the beings that are there that they see, do you feel like it's maybe something that wants to contact them, or
I mean, that's possible, but see, I believe in certain supernatural things, not all of them. Um, but I've never had any experiences personally with anything, so
Yeah, I'll run you through my last paralysis. It only happened a month ago, so it was actually kind of recent in my brain.
yeah,
Yep.
go for it.
I was pretty much, I was having a really bad nightmare, and I suddenly woke up, and I had this massive pain in my chest,
Hmm.
and I just tried to move, and I couldn't move,
Hmm.
and I was just laying on my side, so I was just staring at the wall, and it was kind of like I had pins and needles, and I was trying to move my body, but it just wouldn't move, and it just felt all tingly,
Yeah,
and it
right.
probably took me a couple minutes before I actually could, physically get up.
I hate I hate like when that happens and when you're in that state, you put like all of your effort into trying to move and it just doesn't work and that scares you more, so then you can't move more. Like it's
See, that's another hypothesis, and it's not like any of us are actually looking at data here. Everything we're saying is just spitballing. But it's also possible that because you're paralyzed, and this is the first. Well, it may not be the first time you've had sleep paralysis, but if it is, that's the first time you've been paralyzed. Even if it isn't, it's you're not usually paralyzed, and you're in a dark room. Your brain tends to come up with things when you're alone in a dark room and you can't move.
yeah, your
So
mind plays tricks on you, yeah.
yeah, the paralysis demons could be just a result of your mind filling in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. I've actually never really thought of it that way, that all the so-called beings that you see, it's not necessarily something that's actually happening, or whether it's what you believe or not, but whether it is actually, your mind just filling in the gaps of. It's like they say
Yeah.
when
Well,
when people like go go and do like, ghost hunting or whatever, they see like
Yeah.
shadows and stuff, but it's not actually there because your
It's just them
mind's
making
just,
it up.
because you're searching for that, your mind is creating that.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a saying we
even
like
if
to say. Yeah.
Even if you're just walking home in the dark, like
Yeah.
if you're in an area that you don't know, like sure, if you're in your hometown, then you're generally fine. But if you're in an area you don't know, it's all dark, and you're sober, then yeah, it's just natural to feel a bit uneasy because
I
it's
honestly have felt uneasy even walking in places I've known before if it's nighttime. Like whenever I see like a person, I just become like extra aware of my surroundings.
and that's a natural instinct, really. Like in
Just
the
survival.
past, the dark was very, very dangerous. There's heaps of things in the dark that could kill you, so it just makes sense that your brain's adapted
Well, that's
to
what
be
we're
able to protect you when you're in the dark.
that's what we were always taught when we were younger, though. Stay out of the, don't walk home in the dark, or
Well, that's the thing. We've been taught that verbally, but
Have we?
personally, I'd say that's hardwired into us as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was
That-
taught that when I was
I
younger.
mean,
Yeah, Nev.
I don't
Oh.
think. Yeah, look, I don't think we necessarily have been taught to walk in the dark. I think it's mostly just women.
Yeah,
No,
I'll-
I think
I'll
in,
back.
in general.
but I mean, it's,
Like,
but I mean, it's just,
I mean,
just a broad.
I'm not making a joke about that. Like, I'm
Yeah,
actually.
I know what you
serious.
mean. I know what you mean. And at the danger of venturing into a completely different topic, my counter argument for that would be that most people that are assaulted are men, and
No,
the
that's-
dark is just as dangerous for men as it is for women.
No.
I think it's just,
I disagree with that.
I think it's just human nature. Like
Yes, that's
we're
what I'm
we're
saying.
vulnerable in the dark. It doesn't matter whether it's men or women or whatever. I think it's just
Yes.
that knee-jerk reaction that you're in the dark, you're alone, you can't see things that you normally would see. Like you
Yeah,
always
I
think,
was-
I could be, something could be hiding in the dark. It's just,
I wasn't really thinking about it as where we are modern in like right now. Anyway, I was more thinking about it as how we evolved.
Yeah.
Like through our history, the dark has been a very, very dangerous spot, and a lot of predatory animals use the dark to their advantage to
yeah.
ambush their prey.
At the end of the day, we are animals. Like it's where
we
it
are.
probably comes
we're,
from.
we're both predator and prey.
Yeah.
So we would have. Our
Well, maybe you're
brains
prey,
are
I'm not a
evolved to
prey.
be uneasy.
I'm just built different, I guess.
So was it you, Dane, that was asking the question about the paranormal experience?
Yes. Well, I was just asking, which paranormal experience do you think's the most likely, or the most realistic?
In
What do you
terms
mean
of
by that?
in terms of science or
What do you think is the most likely to be true?
like when you watch like
Well-
ghost hunting shows or whatever and they find all that stuff, are you talking about then, like what do you think's most
What-
believable, I
What
guess?
paranormal experience would you look at and say, I could believe that?
Well, I mean, I've seen heaps of shows and things like that, and they're asking questions, and they have things like like flashlights where you have to twist on and off, and then when whatever,
Yeah.
whether it be a ghost or whatever, it twists the flashlight to answer a question, and then it twists it back off again, to say no or
Yeah.
whatever, like that sort of stuff. I'm not saying it's 100% true, but it certainly makes me ask a lot of questions about how it happens.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, has anyone here ever actually experienced anything paranormal, you'd say?
No, I've never.
I
experienced
definitely
anything
couldn't
paranormal.
claim.
This isn't necessarily paranormal, but on the topic of sleep, have you guys ever had that experience where you're either falling in a dream or you feel like you're about to get hurt and then you just jolt awake?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like you fall off a cliff or something, and then you hit the ground, and you
Yeah.
like wake up.
Yeah.
I'm
like-
surprised how universal that is, too,
I
actually.
had that dream, but I have died multiple times in my dreams.
Died.
Yes. Usually by a gun.
Oh.
Maybe the
Hang on.
universe is trying to tell you something, Dane.
Jeez.
I think
Funnily enough, yeah, it was a gun 2 times and then a pike the 3rd time.
pike.
You can't pie.
Wow.
Is that like-
Look, I played a lot of Rome Total War, especially back then.
Is
and
that like
I
the-
think it fed into my dreams.
like the medieval like spear thing that
Yeah, it's a really,
Yeah.
really long spear.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, pike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it said pipe, like you fucking
No,
smoke
no.
out of it. Like, how'd you manage that?
Oh, that'd be a
Smoking
good.
kills kids.
I don't. So I think back to the whole paranormal experiences. I think that I don't know. I guess I could claim that that the shadow person that I've seen. I guess that's my
No, yeah, I'd
experience.
definitely rate that.
Oh yeah.
But it's sort of I don't know. It's weird because the only time that I see this, I mean, I hesitate to say person, this thing or being or entity or whatever it may
Yeah.
be, I only see it when I'm like, in bad stages in my life, like, when I'm starting to, struggle at where I'm at, having a bad couple of weeks or whatever. Like, I only see it when I'm at my darkest. So then I don't know. I don't know whether I just convey, you know, dark energy or negative energy or, you know, I don't.
Well,
Into,
I, yeah, I don't know. I think the human mind's one of the biggest mysteries that we haven't really unlocked yet.
Hmm.
And I don't. It's this is purely just because I'm quite a big skeptic, but I'd probably say you're right in saying it's some sort of a projection. But at the same time, I don't know shit. So
Well, I don't know enough about it either to say, that's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't, has anyone else had anything paranormal?
yeah, I could
Um,
probably. I've had friends that have told me some things, but I've also had some experiences of my own. I don't know if any of you guys had it, but back to like, I guess it wraps in with dreams as well. But like, you dream about something or someone, and then something or someone is gonna happen. Like something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had that a couple of
Oh,
times.
like you have a premonition of something.
Yeah, kind of thing. Like, for example, I literally dreamt about this person, probably a week ago, and literally they messaged me the other night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere, I hadn't talked to them in 2 years.
That was,
I've had not it's not really similar, but it kind of is as well. I have a thing.
Oops.
I've noticed it a few times. It'll be just as an example. Let's just take um, Harry Potter the movie series for instance.
great
Um,
movies.
there'll be a time where I just start thinking like, oh yeah, maybe I should like watch like Harry Potter again, and then like 2 or 3 days down the path, that's all I'll see everywhere. Like it'll be on my Facebook, it'll be on like the trending on Netflix,
Yeah.
and
But
I've had that with multiple like things that are like not necessarily just movies as well, like items
Yeah.
that I've been planning to buy and it'll just show up somewhere
but
or
does that come down to you just thinking
Sometimes
about it
that's
so you
just
notice it?
That is
well, and also
possible, yeah.
this is obviously isn't every case because it wouldn't happen in every case. But if you just searched Harry Potter and
no,
Netflix
but in
once,
a lot of
thinking,
these
yeah, that's what I'm
situations
saying.
I haven't searched them. That's the thing. Like
Yeah, but it wouldn't necessarily take much because what like take Harry Potter for example. Maybe you watched something similar that had spells in it that made you start thinking about Harry Potter. But Netflix also saw that you watched that and thought, oh, maybe he wants to watch Harry Potter as well.
As like an advertisement thing, do you mean?
Yeah, like so
Subliminal
they
advertisement.
realize
Yeah.
that he's watched something regarding
God.
witchcraft or spells, so they think, oh, we'll advertise this to him. But that
Even down
also
to
triggered
like
him to start thinking about Harry Potter.
even down to like a YouTube history and stuff. I feel like I watch a lot
Yeah.
of paranormal and stuff like that, and then on Netflix a lot of horror movies and things like that
Yes.
get
yeah.
like
I think
trending or not trending.
I think it would be scary to find out how much the companies talk to each other
Yeah, that would be scary.
because it is very clear that they do contact each other. You search
Yeah.
something in Google and all of a sudden that's all you get advertised for on Facebook.
Yeah, that's been proven in multiple other videos.
Yes.
Yeah. So Nev, earlier on you were gonna say something about your paranormal experience. Have you had something happen or?
I can't say that I have had like an experience like yeah no I can't say I've had an experience where this is very unusual or very sudden or anything like that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, but see I was talking to lately. I just been on Reddit a little bit and they've been talking a fair bit about UFOs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you guys know, but last year that I think I don't think it was NASA, but anyway, they were just looking up at space at one night and they found a flying object.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Just let me look this up for a sec.
all good. Yeah, so Chris, you just come in. Chris, I'm just recording one of my Winging It podcasts. We're talking about paranormal uh, phenomena, I guess, sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
Have you had any sleep paralysis experiences?
No, but Tyler had some really fucking bad sleep paralysis actually.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
what, recently
So
or?
let me finish my steak real quick.
Oh, good.
No, so I remember distinctly, very distinctly. I heard Tyler screaming one night, and I got up to see what was going on, and I got to the door, and Mum and Dad were like, "No, Chris, piss off, go back to your bed." And I was like, "Oh, you know, I was a little shit," so I was curious. So I poked my head around the door into Tyler's room, and he's just pointing at. Like, he was wide awake. His eyes were wide awake. He was, sitting up. His eyes were like he was definitely awake, but he was pointing at me, right? And he starts yelling at me, calling me an alien.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck's going on here? And then
So
he woke up the next
physically
morning.
thought you were like a different.
He literally, quite
species.
literally thought I was an alien, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
And like to this day, he still remembers the entire thing.
Wow.
He remembers all of it. Like, he
Yeah,
was
you
fully
probably
awake.
wouldn't forget something like that.
Yeah, and so he remembers seeing numbers flying around the room. That's how it started.
Wow.
Just numbers randomly flying around the room, and all of a sudden, aliens started coming in his room, and he physically thought I was an alien.
You sure this man didn't get
what
probed?
did you and these other aliens look like?
Oh, I've never asked him that, but
Oh, okay. Oh, that'd
Yeah.
just be interesting. Like, was it the
Yeah.
pop version of an alien, or was it just something completely
I
different?
don't know.
Marvin the Martian, what are you talking about?
No, I've never actually asked him what I looked like. I don't even know if you could describe. You can't. How can you describe something that's like you haven't really actually technically
Yeah.
Well,
no one
that-
else has
the best-
seen?
the
that's
best thing
my
that could
question though.
happen
Was it
So
something?
it was not. It wasn't like a
unique or-
traditional sense of like an alien. It was like
Okay, well, yeah, that's
yeah.
a lot more interesting.
Yeah, like,
Because
as
you
in-
know,
as in-
if your mind
Hmm.
was to project an alien, you'd think that
Yeah.
it would project it as it knows
Nah.
an alien.
yeah, like
Yeah, but
it was like a
in those situations, it's really cool when you see like someone who's had a situation like that, and then they've gone to like a professional like sketch artist, and had them draw it so that like other people can kind of see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Those are really really interesting situations because they draw it so well that like the person like almost relives what they went through when they saw it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, especially in that situation where if like for instance, if Tyler can like, picturize this so-called alien and picture it as something that his mind doesn't know, like he was saying, no, it's not like anything I've seen before, then that would really raise a lot of questions for me.
Yeah.
So
So did your parents know what was going on when it happened, Chris? Or
no. They were bloody clueless.
so it wasn't like a frequent thing, and they're like, oh, it's okay, he's just having sleep
Um,
paralysis again.
That was the first one that he'd had. But he's had. I think he had 2 or 3 when he was a kid.
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember the other ones. I know he had more than one, but the other ones weren't like as vivid or as like memorable or bad.
So that was like
Like this
the
was the only
worst
one that was like genuinely like terrifying for him.
Yeah. Nice.
The other ones were just like simple things, like minor illusions, I guess you could say.
So have you had any sleep paralysis
Me,
of your own?
no.
What about
I've
like
never had anything. I've like woken up and like not been able to move because my arm's numb or some shit. But like it's like
yeah, because you've been
you know-
laying on it or
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah. I think we've all had
Yeah.
that feeling.
in terms of like actual like sleep paralysis, like visions and stuff. No,
Okay,
I've
okay.
talked to myself like while I've had full on conversations whilst asleep.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I-
another
I've-
weird thing, like
hmm.
how people
Yeah,
That is
talk while
true.
they're sleeping and
Yeah.
actually have conversations.
I had
Apparently
that.
I sleep talk.
I had
but
that
I don't know what to
literally.
say.
I had that literally yesterday morning. Like my missus like was she gets up early to go to work, and I was up stupid late because of night shift. And yeah, when I got up and got out of bed, she like sat up and she goes, like, what are you doing? I said, I'm just gonna go and do something else because I can't lay here and stay awake. And she was like full sitting up, like looking at me, and then she was just like, oh yeah, that's alright. And she goes, oh, can you just close the door behind you because I don't want to let the cat out. I'm like, yeah, all good. And then the next morning, she was just like, oh, did you let the cat out last night? I was like, no, because you told me not to. And she was like, what? Like she did not she did
Oh.
not remember that conversation one bit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you were looking at me. You told me to close the door.
Yeah, it's really weird how sleep talk works because like it has a different effect on different people who have it. Like some people just like mumble different words, but other people you can have like full conversations with, and that's really weird.
Yeah, well, then you go to sleepwalking and all that as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a whole other can of worms. I've never known someone that's sleptwalked or
Yeah, I haven't
anything like that.
either.
That's interesting. So I think back to the whole paranormal experiences thing, I just had like a bit of a memory come back in. Um, Going to the Beechworth Asylum on the school camp.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean that was fun and all, but
Yes.
I can remember when
Is
I
that the one where Dog was on the table and like she
Yep.
smacked the hammer
And
between
Yeah.
everyone thought I had a boner.
Everyone thought you had a massive boner.
But that's it. That
Wait,
was just
what?
me.
I think
I don't
See?
remember that.
Okay, this will be interesting because I'm
What, my
very
fucking
suspicious
boner?
about that.
No.
No. But if I was ever to say I had a paranormal experience, that would be it
but
at
that's
the Beechworth camp.
but nothing happened then. That was just
When when we got locked in that room and it went all dark and all that.
yeah.
And the lady hit her stick with into our legs. Yeah.
No, it was a different room. And this is why I'm very sus of it because it's really easy that someone was just fucking with me and all that.
Wait, the lady was touching her stick against people's legs.
Yeah, at the front. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was just like theatrics though.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah.
You pay for the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did genuinely get pushed, and I'm like, that's nothing to talk about anyway.
Yeah,
'Cause,
no,
you know,
just leave
that's
it.
really easy to replicate.
We were all really crowded in that room that Dog was
Yeah.
talking about.
That's
No,
true.
but it was a deliberate push as well, and
Oh.
like it was a room full of teenagers, so of course someone's gonna fuck with
Yeah,
other people.
someone can like,
Yeah.
What are you doing, step bro?
So, like, were you saying you had an actual interaction there? Do you reckon? or-
Not there, but just so that memory come into my head, and then when I just thought of like I thought, oh no, that's the only place I've been. But the what's it called?
Arrowdale?
Yeah, that's the one, Arrowdale.
Yeah.
I've-
Arrowdale, yeah.
I've
Alright.
I've been
Yeah, no,
there.
it's in Arab, it's Arrowdale, yeah.
Yeah, I've been to that place twice and had two different I guess like tours, and
Yeah,
it was both of them. I had completely different experiences, and it was really interesting because the first one it was similar to Beechworth. Like I was really on edge, like expecting stuff to happen, and like
Yeah.
oh what was that? Like walking around the corner and expecting someone to stand there. But the second time I went, I just like I don't know how or why, but I was just in the mindset that I've been to this place, I know the rooms, like I know nothing's gonna
Yeah.
happen, and it
Well-
was like a more terrifying experience because
yeah.
I was relaxed more and I wasn't like on edge so much. I think that's probably, I don't know whether that's testament to anything, I guess,
Well,
really, but
It's only natural for you to be more relaxed because humans are no different than any other animal. Where if you put them in a new environment, they're gonna be nervous. If you go somewhere you've never been before, you're a lot more nervous than if you're somewhere you've been.
especially
like, every
knowing
week.
it's like a ghost tour and you're going
Yeah.
into it. But
I
yeah,
mean,
that place is
it's the
fucking
same as,
terrifying,
Going to work someplace for the first time ever as well. You're gonna be a whole lot more nervous than after working there for a week or a month.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
personally, anything you could kind of say, oh, I've had a paranormal experience. Personally, we've had things happen that something doesn't quite make sense. But personally, I'm like, it's not a ghost. It's just
Yeah.
Yeah.
not. That's just me. Like you hear floorboard creak. You
Oh,
go, it's
I'm
not
the
a ghost,
same.
It's just
Oh,
it's just the
floorboards
temperature
creak all the
changing in the
time.
wood.
Yeah, that's
I know,
true.
but it's
Oh,
what I'm
no.
thinking is that things happen.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have some people who take a photo in a dark room and see an orb and go, "Oh my god, it's an orb,"
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, see, as a young kid, I remember there was a lightning storm the one night, and it must have hit the power line, and the TV turned on in one of the rooms. I remember being just so freaked out because like I didn't know that electricity could do that just by hitting the power line,
Yeah.
And it just freaked me out that there was like some sort of ghost in the house. I remember being so freaked out about that.
Mm.
as
See-
like a young kid.
That's the weird part, though. Is it a lot? Like, I don't believe in ghosts, right? But for a
Yeah.
large majority of my life, well into my teens, like it's not like just like a kid thing. Like well into my teens, like even 17, 18. I hated like down at the farmhouse, like when I was at the farm, I hated
Mm.
turning the kitchen light off because it's about 10 paces to my room, right, in pitch black. I always hated it. Every single time I'd do it, it felt like someone was watching me, and I knew there was someone wasn't.
How it's so
watching me.
weird, yeah. Like,
But I had that feeling that
well,
something
Yeah.
was.
like
That
it's
just
like the
goes back
thing.
to
It's
what I
like
said
the
earlier, though.
universal
Mm.
thing. It's like the universal thing where like people turn the light off and like try to run to like
Dive to your
or
bed,
like
yeah.
that.
Make sure the
Yeah.
demon don't get
Yeah,
you.
Yeah,
the
the
monster
demon
doesn't grab
thing
your
is-
legs from under your bed. Yeah.
Yeah. Isn't it
Humans
so
do
weird
have
how
those
there's
built-in
these universal
instincts,
things?
though. It's like when we see a poorly rendered face, it throws us off.
Yeah.
Like,
Does it though?
no, I don't want
Yeah.
to look at that.
Does
Think
it?
of what was it?
Sinister.
That video game that was so shit because of the facial animations.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that one. That exact one.
Yeah.
Mass Effect.
Yeah,
Mass
no,
Effect.
Mass Effect. That's it. Mass
Oh, okay.
Effect.
Andromeda. Yeah, Andromeda.
And just our brain is wired to be wary of things that look like humans but aren't quite humans, and we're wired to be scared of the dark because
Yeah.
there's a lot of scary things that can be in the dark.
Well,
I'm
then,
afraid of no
if
ghosts.
that's your explanation for that universal one, then how do you explain something like the floor is lava game? Like that's another universal thing that just like every kid
Because
does.
kids are fucking imaginative as shit.
But I think
yeah, but
that
like
But,
for
like, well, that's a
every
game,
kid,
though, that's
for
not a
every
fear.
kid to have this one game, it's like
I
a
think
universal
that-
psyche almost, you know?
when
Yeah,
Well,
there
I'd
are
say that's
actually
more of a
theories about
cultural
them.
meme than a universal
But it wasn't a meme when
No,
we were
but
kids.
culture is a learned thing, though.
When we
That's
were
the
kids,
thing.
it wasn't like when I was a kid. I never talked to someone who told me how to play the floor is
Yeah,
lava.
that's
I just
exactly
went,
what I
oh my
mean.
god, I can't touch
No,
the
but-
floor.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
if you tell someone the floor is lava, that especially a kid, that's their general response. Oh, I better not touch
It's
the
the
floor.
same as
then."
when
I was
you're
never told that.
it's the same as when you're hitting a balloon in the air and you can't let it touch the ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everyone's done that,
Yeah.
but like no one ever said, hey, let's play a
Or when
game,
you're in the
don't let
car
balloon
and
touch
you
the
like
floor."
have the imaginary guy running out
jumping
doing
over
parkour.
shit.
Yeah.
Like you can't explain that. I would
No.
never been able to explain that.
Neither. I
Yeah.
wouldn't have said to someone, oh my god, do you like have a guy do parkour when you look out the window? Like,
Yeah.
no one ever said that to me. When
Yeah,
I was
my
like, oh, you
good-
should do it
my-
next time.
My guy did sick backflips. I don't know about yours.
Yeah, well, my guy's pretty mental.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but
This
it's
is-
just these universal things are just like
Yeah.
weird. It's to the stage
Something
where
all
it
kids-
is almost like paranormal stuff.
every kid has tried to put a light switch half on.
Yes, they have as well.
Oh, but that's
Every
more.
kid has.
That's more curiosity though.
But like,
yeah.
It does work.
Oh,
though.
this is
a
on.
lot
This is
of it
off.
can come
What
down to
about
like
the
just the
middle?
limitation of
Just
imagination.
opens a
like, there's
wormhole.
only so many things you can imagine.
Yeah, but for the wide spectrum that it's on, that's just like it's just
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I can see
But
that.
and it's like all over the world as well. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
Australia.
No, what are you
It's like
talking
there
about?
are a lot of dangerous substances. Like, why couldn't it just be normal fire, for instance? You know, like
Or the floor's acid.
yeah, or well, I mean, yeah, like acid. Like
It hasn't got a ring to it.
but
The floor's lava.
Kids go towards the most extreme of whatever it is.
I think
That's
it's,
Dane,
like-
I would rather drop
dinosaurs.
in lava than acid.
I was gonna say lava's not
Well, no,
necessarily
to be
the worst
fair,
thing.
I could imagine kids saying, "Oh, the floor is acid as well."
You know,
How many TV shows is acid the
never had a
trope?
better.
yeah,
never
but
had
the,
a
yeah,
the
better-
thing that we're saying is
battered
that like
about acid.
they don't say that. It's like it is
But
lava.
TV shows do have lava as a trope as well, though.
hey, I would rather third degree burns over like molten flesh.
burns.
You know,
I guess how long have you allowed to figure that out anyway?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's.
You're fucked.
And do you really think about that as a kid? You just think, "Oh, deadly thing. I'm not gonna stand on it."
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
the
What's
floor's
the
lava.
when you
most
failed,
obs-
when you mucked up the floor is lava, you just sit there and be like, oh my god, it burns, you know.
Yeah.
You don't think
Like-
of what the most obscure deadly item is.
No.
Like,
No,
the
you go for the most deadly that
The-
you've been taught. It's like, "Oh, lava. That's extreme."
the floor is made of thumbtacks.
Yeah, you
Lego
don't think
pieces.
of that.
No, I was about to say Lego. Yeah, the floor is Lego.
Except that was the real struggle.
Every time. Oh, I tell you what,
No.
Lego in your feet is the worst experience known to man.
I've heard
It's
some
not
pretty.
good.
Actually, so talking about like stepping
Especially
on
like
Legos.
when you're running.
Yeah, so I'm like stepping on Legos and stuff, right? I've got a pretty crappy story when it comes to like stepping on stuff. Oh, I remember because when I was a kid, well, even now, I don't like shoes, let alone
Shoes.
socks. Like I hate shoes and socks. If I can go
Really?
What, you
barefoot,
just walk around just with your feet
no,
out
no.
all the
If
time?
it was socially acceptable for me to go to like the mall here barefoot, I would fucking go barefoot. Like
Well,
How
no
do you,
one's
yeah,
telling you not to.
how do your toes survive? How are they not
they're,
frozen?
they're all callous. That's why.
Ah,
No,
okay.
because you can get really like, calluses on
Well,
the feet.
and again, remember for thousands of years in human history, shoes weren't
Yeah.
exactly used.
So
But Chris,
I can run. I can 90% of the time run faster without shoes than I could with shoes.
Wow.
Flash
It just
over here.
feels. It just feels better.
Fast as fuck, boy.
But no. So I always never used to wear shoes. I still don't. And I remember I found this. We had like an old buggy and it broke, and I was like jumping on it because like it had a little bit of a bounce to it. And I was jumping on it, happy as Larry, but then I didn't realize there was a bunch of nails sticking through. And
Oh,
I jumped on them. I think I had 12 holes in my feet.
holy
And
lord.
I was,
Oh
Oh,
shit!
That's fun at home.
it was dreadful. And then mum and dad just told me to suck it up. And then we put my feet in warm water to clean it, and then just told me to suck it up.
There you go, Aussie parents for you.
It's like
As
when I
long
tore
as-
my ACL. It took me 3 days to go to the hospital.
As long as you've had your tetanus shot, you'll be right.
Like I literally stacked my. Oh, it would have been a little 120, like a 125 cc thing, but
Oh, I
I was
remember
maxing
that.
out, so it would have been going probably at least 60, 70 k's.
I remember that.
And
Yeah.
I was drag racing someone on their 250. They cut in front of me, slam the front brakes on, flip over the handlebars.
Yeah,
Took me
Wow.
3 days to get that diagnosed,
yeah,
and obviously half a year in crutches.
yeah.
Wow.
I do remember another story about like going to like taking a bit to go off. So I was at footy training. I remember we were playing British Bulldogs, and I got taken. I hit the back of me head, right?
Oh, this is the brain thing. isn't
Yeah,
it?
and I stood up, and me nose just started leaking, like profusely leaking.
Like with blood, or
Like
just
not like a runny nose, not like a runny nose, as in like a tap, like someone had turned a tap on.
was it like
and
with,
that was
white
just-
with blood, or just
No, like
Fluids.
like just fluid.
wow?
And like I was like, oh shit, that's
Mm.
not good. Finished training, didn't think anyone. We were in the car like, halfway home, and I'm like, well, mum, I reckon I probably should go to the hospital. And she goes, oh, why is that? And I told her what happened, and she kind of just looked at me. And we talked about it for about 5-10 minutes. We were nearly home by the time Mum goes, yeah, you know what, we probably should. And then we turned around and go all the way back into town. And as soon as I told the doctor, they immediately chucked me on a bed, strapped me into this fucking massive cocoon, put the neck brace on. And I'm just sitting there going, oh fuck, this doesn't sound too good.
Wait, so was the discharge like from your nose? Was it like
Yeah.
clear? Was it
It was-
sweet?
I didn't taste it.
Okay.
No, it was.
I've heard that stuff is
yeah.
sweet.
Well, so because they talked to me, and they're like, look, you got one or two things here. You've either cracked your skull open, and you're leaking cerebral fluid, or you've exploded your tear duct.
Wow.
Anyway, I sat in this little cocoon for 6 hours, got an ambulance ride to Horsham, and after 6 hours, finally got an MRI done. Luckily, it's just a popped tear duct.
Oh, so you
Um,
can't cry anymore? No.
Well, my right eye doesn't cry properly.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Like it has like
It's much
Weird
better than the
injury.
second option, though.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd
But
rather
it
that
was-
over a
just-
brain
it was
hemorrhage every
funny
day.
It was funny that me and Mum even like sat there and contemplated not going to the hospital. We very well could have just packed up, gone home, and said, "Fuck it," we'll see what happens. We were nearly at that point in time, and then all of a sudden it turns out I could have cracked my skull open, and I'm like, "Oh shit!"
I,
I'll
re-
just toughen up, you were on.
I remember when I cut my Achilles in
Oh, fuck,
Oh,
yeah.
I don't even like hearing it. It's like my one kid is cutting my Achilles.
in
I hate
primary
it.
school. Nan,
We-
if you're
we
watching
all
this
know the story.
podcast,
I hate it.
sorry. Yeah, Nan, if
It
you're watching
hurts
this
my-
podcast, I'm really sorry.
It
But no,
literally hurts. It hurts me mentally to even like envision a cut Achilles.
I've still got a scar from that, It's still on the back of my ankle.
course, yeah.
What'd you do to it?
So yeah, once again, Nan, I know she listens to this podcast. I'm sorry I have to tell this story. So we're just about to leave to go up north to a little place on the river. We all know where we're talking. And yeah, so it was like summer day in thongs. We had to go and pick up Nan from her house, which is coincidentally 2 houses from my home house. And yeah, we picked her up, and it was going inside, grabbing her bag, stuff like that, and she had like a security door, and it swung out, and there was like 2 steps down at the back of her house. Like it was like house was on stilts, so it was like 2 concrete
Yeah.
steps, and last bag I grabbed, it was all good. Stepping down, close the door, lock it all up, everything. And as I was stepping down in thongs, the bottom of the security door caught my ankle, and
Oh.
yeah, tore it open and cut my Achilles.
Oh.
Yeah, so we jumped in the car and travelled 3 hours or whatever it was, 3.5 hours to the little place on the river, and we got there, and it was like straight into hospital. And luckily, the top orthopedic surgeon from the Royal Children's, or the Alfred, was there from Melbourne, and I remember this clear as day.
Very lucky.
He walked into my room, and he takes a look at my ankle, and he says, "Oh, look, it doesn't look good because that's your Achilles, and it's like severed.
Oh.
So do you want to come?
no.
Do you want to come in tomorrow for surgery?" I'm like, if that's what I got to do. So yeah, it's next day straight into surgery, all good. Fucking.
I hope the listeners are seeing a pattern. We've got pretty good public health care in Australia, but the general response to an injury is it'll be right.
Yeah,
Oh,
the car.
yeah, probably.
But
yeah.
the best thing was, I reckon, it was probably like 6 months later, maybe even longer. It was me and my mum, and we got on a flight to go to Sydney to see my uncle. And
Yeah.
at the airport, we saw the same orthopedic doctor
Oh,
and
wow.
his son. We saw him
Nice.
collecting bags. He was on our flight, and we saw him, and we were talking for a
What?
bit. And I showed him my ankle, and he said, "No, it looks really good." Like we ran into the same doctor in the
That's
Melbourne
unreal.
airport.
Fuck. Imagine
unreal.
seeing that conversation as an outsider. You're just going up
Yo,
to this
what
random
is
guy,
just
just
going on?
showing him your ankle. It's like, what's this guy into? What's going on?
That's a nice ankle.
Yeah, I actually
Getting a
couldn't
bit
believe it.
promiscuous at the airport.
I couldn't believe it though. It was like the same doctor was there
Yeah.
on their same flight. Like it was crazy.
I remember when I was a kid, I got hit in the head by a cricket bat. I would have been.
Oh yeah.
That
When I was
explains a few things, Chrissy.
I would have been 4. I would have been 5, maybe 6. I don't quite know. Maybe younger, even 4. Somewhere around there. But I remember I got hit in the head by a cricket bat. Mum and Dad rushed me to hospital. It's one of my first memories I can ever remember. They rushed me off to hospital, and I remember having to sit in this broom closet for about, I don't know, an hour. Because there was a bloody bloke running around the hospital with a knife.
Shit.
What?
Well, I don't think it was like a waiting room or a closet. I can't quite remember. That's like the blurry part. 'Cause I was a
Classic.
young kid. I just got smacked in the head by a cricket bat. Then we waited in a room. We waited in a room. There was a knife like running around the hospital. And the cops had to catch him, and that's one of my first memories of all time.
Oh wow, we are painting such an image of Australia.
Talking about first memories, does everybody like remember the first time
It's like
that
when you flip your
they
switch,
could
yeah.
actually physically start remembering stuff?
It's like when
Yeah.
your brain started recording.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like your brain's pressed the button, and it's like, yeah, we're on. Let's go time.
I do,
You know?
actually.
It's like we're
I
just
don't know if I can pick that
intubating.
time.
I
We've
do.
got
No, I
shit to
can't
do.
either.
I definitely can. I remember waking up in my bed and being like, "What the fuck?"
What the fuck?
Ah,
that's
you're awake, I say.
New world.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. And see, it was so weird for me because I remember walking into the kitchen and going like, "Yep, I know this person. That's my mum."
Actually, no.
Mother.
That is a good point. That is a good point to raise,
No,
because you know she's
yeah.
your mum. But
Yeah.
like, there had to
Why
be a first time
sustenance?
where you looked at her and was like, yes, that is mum.
Yeah, because you
We
don't
had to have
actually
some
physically
understanding of
you
language.
don't actually physically store memories until you're a certain age.
Yeah.
So just going out and just being like, "Yep, that is my mum," and yes, that is my dad. Like that's
That's
so,
you.
so weird.
It's a
That's
weird
interesting.
concept.
So Nev, you're
Like-
gonna start a story about injury?
Yeah, so it's very interesting to hear Chris getting hit in the head with a cricket bat because around the same age as me. I remember I have 2 older brothers, and they were just hitting they were just hitting some ball around, and they had golf clubs.
Yeah.
Anyway, I
Oh,
had
no.
I
Here we go.
Anyway, I had the ingenious idea of standing behind my brother as just he's about to take a swing.
Oh.
And
Oh, no.
yep, sorry, swings right back, and
Yeah.
I get hit just below my eye.
Yeah,
This
that's
is very
the,
similar to
that's
what
the
happened
exact
with
same thing that
Was
happened
it
to
Murdy or Mitch that got hit?
Murdy.
it was Murdy got hit
yeah.
from by Mitch, at
I knew
primary
it was.
school.
I knew those were the
Mitch,
two involved.
yeah,
but,
Mitch swung backwards and the club came out of his hand and hit Murdy in the head.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I
God.
thought Mitch.
Hit
Yeah, I
his
thought Murdy was
eyebrow.
just too
Yeah.
close.
No, it
But-
came.
Yeah,
it- the club
Yeah.
came out of his hand and hit him in the head.
Although, Dave, it's interesting you even say that because what I did is I thought it would be a great idea. We were playing cricket and I thought it would be a great idea to walk behind Tyler.
Yeah.
And that's how it happened. I walked behind him and he did a big swing and a miss, right? And when you're
Yeah.
a kid, you're playing cricket. When you swing and a miss, you do the whole twirl.
Yeah.
So he swings and he misses and he comes around on the back, comes around like the full 360 and just dongs me right in the forehead. I still have the scar from it, but
It's almost like you have
Yeah,
to
I
learn it
s-
the hard
yeah.
way.
Yeah, I had yeah. So continuing on with my story, yeah, I had to be rushed to hospital. Not sure how many stitches I had, maybe 16.
ooh,
And-
Oh.
Big
Yeah.
ol'.
And they told me, if it was a little bit to the, if it was an inch away from my temple. If it hit me
Yeah.
there, it could have been
Could've
really,
killed
really
you.
bad.
Wow.
Commit the
Yeah.
uninstall.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
Zave.exe would have stopped working.
So
Gee whiz,
Yeah.
hearing about how many people have been hit in the head as a kid explains a whole lot.
Yeah.
I think it's more
Oh,
alcohol.
actually, thinking back to footy, I had a really good concussion where I was just
Did ya?
laid out on the ground. Like, I didn't realize it, but I was probably out for a minute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, no, the trainer didn't even notice. Fucking, I was sitting there in the goal square, just unconscious. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was against Minia when we had to win that game to
Yeah.
make finals,
Wow.
Yeah.
and I dropped a sitter
I
in
think I
front of
remember
goal.
that game.
Yeah,
You know, I've
But-
I
never,
remember that
I've
game because I
never
bowled a
passed
kid
out.
over and full back and he got caught a
yeah, I've
fucking
never
push
really
in
had
the back.
a
The
concussion
the
either.
worst injury I ever got in football isn't even really an injury. It was just being winded as fuck. It was really
Oh, that still
rainy.
hits you though.
It was the first time I ever got winded ever, and
Mhm.
it was like pissing down rain. I mean, pissing down. There was a huge puddle on the field, and I was running with the ball, not with the ball, running to the ball, and there was
Yeah.
another guy running on the opposite team, and he comes in with the biggest bump, and I mean, I went bam straight into this
Was
huge
this for
puddle of
JR?
water. No, it was in nil.
Okay.
And I hit that puddle with such force, I was winded, and I just walked off the field because I thought I was dying.
I remember the
no,
first time I
the
got
first time-
winded. Fuck me.
Yeah. Well, the first time I
Yeah.
got winded, I literally thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was still pretty young.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you don't know what's going on
Like,
until you
to
have
see
it.
how young I was, I
yeah.
was literally like on my parents' bed. I piled up all the pillows into one pile and decided to jump on them.
Classic.
And that winded the fuck out of me. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna die. And like the
Yeah.
biggest part was like, oh, my parents are
got
gonna see me
winded
dead
by
on their
pillows.
bed when I'm not meant to be jumping on their bed.
I guess
That's-
that's probably find worse
That's
things
your
to do.
concern, that you're not meant to be jumping on the bed. You just got a
Yeah.
dead child.
As
Oh,
I'm
no.
gasping for air, I'm
Shouldn't
like,
have been
oh,
jumping
no,
on the
they're
bed.
gonna find out I was jumping on the
I'm
bed.
gonna die, but I can't let them know I was jumping on the bed.
Just collapse in the
It's
hallway
weird what
instead.
you think about when you think you're gonna die.
It's like, would you rather die or get an ass whooping?
Nature's death.
I also remember the first time I ever got winded. It was at the primary school. I remember I was on the playground and I was on. Kyle and Dane might remember.
Yeah,
but
I
there was
remember
on the
it,
big
yeah.
playground. I know Kyle was there, but like you'd remember the big playground. How it was at that little
Yeah.
spiral thingy. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah. So I was climbing up that and I went to grab it and I just missed.
Yeah.
Well, I
was
slipped
joking.
off and I just smacked on flat on my
I'm
back.
pretty sure it was on the fate as well.
It was on the face. And
Yeah.
I just landed on my back and I just going.
I thought you were dying. I was like, what the fuck is going
I
on?
was
What
like,
do I
"Oh,
do?"
no." I was like, this fucking like I can't breathe, and I was trying to say to Kyle, I can't breathe, but I'm going.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't do anything. I'm just wheezing, trying to say I can't
I
breathe.
think that is the worst thing when you're winded and someone's asking like, "You're right, what happened?" and you can't even like,
Yeah.
like you can't say anything. You just like,
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. As you know, all of us now adults, if we got winded, I feel like I'd be more embarrassed. It's like I'm fine. I just need to catch my breath.
Yeah.
Because I was so young, it was literally, I'm gonna fucking die.
Why can't I breathe?
Where is the air?
The oxygen has disappeared. I forgot how to breathe.
Anyway,
I
I
think
think
the other thing
that
with being young though, because you don't really think that far ahead. You think whatever's going on now is the future.
Yeah.
So when you can't breathe, it's like, oh shit, I'm never gonna be able to breathe again.
Yeah, I'm done. This is it. This is
I'm
my final
evolving.
stand.
It's like opening, what is it? LinkinPark.exe.
And on that note, yeah, I think that might actually do it for this podcast. We've been talking for 50 minutes, fellas. That's
Yeah, it's pretty good.
considering we
time,
missed
yeah.
half
I
of
also
it.
had a very good steak.
Yeah, that was
Very nice.
what cut did you have?
Porterhouse.
Fuck,
Nice,
that's good.
With a bit of garlic butter to cook it
Whoa.
with, just to sear
Very
it with.
nice.
Goes
Very
good.
nice. That is very nice.
And then a bit of mushroom sauce. To
Steak
put
with butter is like 10 to 20% better than steak
Yeah.
without butter.
on. Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, yeah. So if this is your first time watching, search us on Facebook or YouTube. Just search for the Wingin' It podcast. Thank you very much, fellas, for the chat.
No worries.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Goodbye.
Bye.
Au revoir.